From a beloved local cottage kitchen right here in the heart of East Oak Cliff, a Dallas favorite is officially putting down roots. Kuluntu Bakery has opened its very first permanent brick and mortar space, you guys. And if you have not tried this place, you need to. Paige is live and standing by to check out the grand opening vibes and taste what's baking and bring some home too, okay?
Yeah, I got that message, Erin. Don't worry, we've got you covered. This bakery, they opened the doors for a special today. Typically, they're closed on Wednesdays, but it is thriving. And that's what's so exciting because it started, as you heard, as a cottage bakery, and now it has expanded, and that means its mission has expanded. I'm excited to introduce you to Stephanie Likely Chalkin. I feel like a proud mama because we got to meet when you were in your home bakery. This is something that you have loved since 2018, and now, wow, congratulations.
Thank you.
Tell me about this transition to this brick and mortar.
It has been a roller coaster, and the beautiful thing about it is we've had so much community support. We've really been able to hit the ground running and had full house here, and so it's beautiful to see that vision really realized in the space.
Well, and it's also what you're serving that also leads to bringing people to the table, and that's what, as I mentioned, is what Kuluntu is all about. It's about community, and that's what you want this space to be. For people to come, take a sip of coffee. They can even have their mugs up if they want to, so that for your repeat customers, and dive into some of these delicacies. Oh my gosh, can you tell me what I'm looking at?
Yeah, we have quite a big selection here. So we have a lot of different pastries, some seasonal pastries, our Queen Amman, our almond cherry plum croissant. We have our herb focaccia made with sourdough.
Yum.
This here's a scones. Scones are really popular in South Africa, so it's more of a South African style. And then here we have some also South African flavors. We have a malva pudding, which is a traditional South African dessert. And then our mealie pop and rooibos tea cake. A mealie pop is a staple part of many South Africans' diet. It's a white cornmeal. And the rooibos tea is native to South Africa.
All right, so I'm gonna take a bite of this, but you do bring up South Africa, and that's the roots of all of this. Your husband is from South Africa, and you're gonna have an opportunity to meet him, by the way, towards a little bit later in the show. But the whole idea of Kuluntu is about bringing people together, and it's also to give back and to empower women.
That's right. Yes, so we are a community-centered space, and our mission is to co-create a more equitable food system by centering women and humanizing food workers, and doing that through these community efforts, bringing everybody into the space for different educational programming and having program for women food workers that's focused on development and education and wellness and resources.
So when visitors come, they know that they're also giving back to a very, very powerful mission. Let's also take a peek behind the scenes. We're gonna go backstage, if you will, to look into this bakery to see where the magic all happens. And it really began with sourdough. That's the beginning of this, and it began with this guy. Let me introduce you to Flubby. You know how people are now when it comes to their yeast? She's named it. This was born in New York and has continued to thrive from New York to South Africa, back to Dallas. I want to see more.
Yes. So this is our country sourdough right here. It is a long process of fermenting. This has been proofing overnight in the fridge, and we're gonna bake it off right now.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so one of the things that you mentioned to me that I think was interesting is that really the yeast, Flubby in particular, it takes on the flavors of where you reside and also on the flavors of the baker itself, which I think is interesting. So San Francisco sourdough tastes different than Dallas sourdough?
Yes, so basically there's microbes, in our environment, the baker's hands, all of that gets absorbed into our starter, essentially. So every starter looks a little bit different. Ours, like Paige said, started in New York, and then we moved it to Cape Town and then back to Dallas. And we've actually shipped this starter all over the world, really, especially during the pandemic. So there's a lot of Flubbies out there.
All right, well, finish scoring this one because we're gonna pop these guys in the oven, but we only have just a few seconds left, sadly, and I wanna see what it looks like when it's all baked up and delicious. So in it goes. And it's so exciting now also to see how much you've grown. These ovens are we're talking some serious stuff. This is some serious ovens. And we have some beautiful sourdough over here that's already been baked up and ready to serve. The magic is in all of the ingredients. And I'm gonna give you an opportunity to meet Warren, her husband, who almost disposed of Flubby in a tragic incident, but you managed to save him.
We did.
We're gonna talk a little bit more about their love story. That's gonna be coming up a little later in the show. In the meantime, I'm gonna dive into this. Once again, we are now breaking bread together. I'm excited to reintroduce you to Stephanie Likely-Chalkin and her wonderful husband, Warren. This is such a wonderful story that is rooted in love. I want to take you back after you were married. You lived in New York initially, then you moved to South Africa where you were raised. But for you, that transition was difficult until you had an opportunity to break bread with some family. Tell me more.
Yeah, you know, going to a new country, a new culture, it's culture shock, and it's really hard to feel comfortable in a space. And when we were there, shortly after we got there, we were really embraced by a family that worked at the hotel, and they invited us into their home, and they became good friends to us and really helped make us feel welcome and a part of their community.
And that kind of was the impetus behind the whole notion of Kuluntu and the idea of community being a big part of that mission. And that's also ultimately what fostered the nonprofit, which we're going to talk about in more detail in just a minute. But Warren, I want to turn to you because you were raised in South Africa, and there are two words that you use. There's 11 languages that are spoken in South Africa, but there's two words that you use that you want to make sure is the foundation of Kuluntu. What are those words and what do they mean?
Yes, the first one is Ubuntu, U-B-U-N-T-U, and it means I am because you are. And the second one is Sawubona, which means I see you.
I see you, and that's the message that you want to make sure that those who come and gather with you have that experience and be able to see. What has been the response of the community since you've opened these doors?
It's been absolutely incredible. I mean, even the way we designed the bakery was with community in mind. You'll see windows into the kitchen so you can see the staff. When children and families enter here, they feel seen, they feel heard. So it's more than just bread. It's about using bread as a vehicle for building community and building relationships.
Well, we're sitting in the children's area right now that you have specialized for the kids to come and be a part of the family and part of this experience. And speaking of kids, you were a member of what is termed the Mandela generation in South Africa. It blows my mind that it was your generation was the first generation to experience integration. What was it like growing up as a member of the Mandela generation?
Well, when I see pictures of the 60s, I went to grade 1 in 1995. Segregation had finished in 1994, so we were the first generation. I can see those pictures. I mean, the families that stood outside the gates of the school. But more than that, beyond that, was learning how to be a country that included everybody. And that really sensitized me, especially being a family of a multiracial family. It was really personal to me to create a space where everyone belongs and to come to spaces that maybe were exclusive in one part of at one time, but to really build inclusive spaces going forward.
And you're continuing to give back not only here but in South Africa with your mission. I'm curious about the nonprofit component of Kuluntu and who it serves.
So a lot of our work is focused on food service workers, really focusing on women in the industry. And the reason why we do that is, you know, my experience. I've been in this industry for a long time and recognizing that it is a broken industry that is serving so much to people but not always giving back in return. And so our work is focused on bringing that back to the workers and supporting them, helping provide resources that they don't often get through employment, and also making sure that the customer understands their role in this food system as well. So we work with the community, but we also do most of our work with women food workers.
All right, Warren, if there's one message, if there's one message that you hope is communicated to those who come and join you and dine here and experience some of these flavors, what would that message be?
I think about Mandela, who spent 27 years in a small prison cell and transformed that space. And so my message to people is, what is your space in the world that you can make a difference? And that would be my message. This is our little space in the world, but what is your space and how can you make a difference to the world around you?
Wow. That is an important message. I want to thank you both so much. I also want to let you know that soon on my Instagram, you can find me at Paige McCoy Smith. I'm going to show you another portion of this bakery and dive a little deeper into some of these terms that really do speak to the community and also to finding your space. Thank you again so much. I appreciate it.